Legendary Passages, Episode 1a, The Little Heracles, an alternate translation of the Idylls of Theocritus. First of all, I want to thank my father, who recorded our new intro music of the Aphicles epitaph. For the next 6 episodes, we shall be hearing alternate translations of our first 6 passages, after which we'll move on to new material once more. This passage begins with Heracles and his twin brother Iphicles, when they are less than a year old. Their mother Alcmena rocks them to sleep in a bronze shield, won by their father Amphitryon. After everyone goes to bed, the goddess Hera sends 2 venomous snakes to kill the bastard son of Zeus in his crib. But even as a babe he is far too strong, and strangles the serpents in his little bare hands. His brother Iphicles cried out, and their mother Alcmena told her husband to hurry and check on the babes, for there was a strange light in the house. Amphitryon grabs his sword and shouts his servants awake as he sprints toward his children. But all are astonished when they find dead snakes in little Heracles' hands. The next morning, Alcmena calls for the seer Tiresias to hear why the gods want her son dead, and what his fate is to be. Tiresias tells her that her son, after many labors and hardships, shall become a god and marry a goddess. Lastly, he tells her how to dispose of the serpents and purify the house. The passage continues into episode 29 with the childhood of Heracles. Next time we shall hear more of the origins and the birth of Heracles. The Little Heracles, a legendary passage from the Idylls of Theocritus, translated by C.S. Caverly. Idyll 24, The Infant Heracles. Alcmena once had washed and given the breast to Heracles, a babe of 10 months old, and Iphicles, his junior by a night, and cradled both within a brazen shield, a gorgeous trophy which Amphitryon erst had stripped from terrorless fall and fight. She stroked their baby brows, and thus she said, "Sleep, children mine, a light luxurious sleep. Brother with brother, sleep, my boys, my life, blessed in your slumber, in your waking blessed." She spake and rocked the shield, and in his arms sleep took them. But at midnight, when the bear wheels to his setting in Orion's front, whose shoulder then beams broadest, Hera sent, mistress of wiles, 2 huge and hideous things, snakes with the scales of azure all on end, to the broad portal of the chamber door, all to devour the infant Heracles. They, all their length encoiled upon the floor, writhed on to their blood feast, a baleful light gleamed in their eyes, rank venom they spat forth. But when with lambent tongues they neared the cot, Alcmena's babes, for Zeus was watching all, woke, and throughout the chamber there was light. Then Iphicles, so soon as he descried the fell brutes peering over the hallowed shield, and saw their merciless fangs, cried lustily, and kicked away his coverlet of down, fain to escape. But Heracles, he clung round them with warlike hands, in iron grasp, prisoning the 2, his clutch upon their throat, the deadly snake's laboratory, where he brews such poison as even heaven abhors. They twined and twisted round the babe that, born, after that long travail, ne'er had shed a tear, even in his nursery, soon to quit their hold, for powerless seemed their spines. Alcmena heard, while her lord slept, the crying, and awoke. "Amphitryon, up! Chill fears take hold on me. Up! Stay not to put sandals on thy feet. Hearest thou our child, our younger, how he cries? Seest thou yon walls illumined at dead of night, but not by morn's pure beam? I know, sweet lord, that some strange thing is happening here." She spake, and he, upleaping at her call, made swiftly for the sword of quaint device that aye hung dangling o'er his cedern couch, and he was reaching at his span-new belt, the scabbard, one huge piece of lotus wood, poised on his arm, when suddenly the night spread out her hands, and all was dark again. Then he cried to his slaves, whose sleep was deep, "Quick, slaves of mine, fetch fire from yonder hearth, and force with all your strength the deadbolts back. Up, loyal-hearted slaves, the master calls. Forth came at once the slaves with lighted lamps, the house with all astir with hurrying feet. But when they saw the suckling Heracles with two brutes grasped firm in soft hands, they shouted with one voice, but he must show the reptiles to Amphitryon, held aloft, his hands in childish glee, and laughed and laid at his sire's feet the monsters still in death. Then did Alcmena to her bosom take the terror-blanched and passionate Iphicles, cradling the other in lamb's wool quilt. The lord once more bethought him of his rest. Now cocks had thrice sung out that night was o'er. Then went Alcmena forth and told the thing to Tiresias the seer, whose words were truth, and bade him read her what the end should be. And if the gods bode mischief, hide it not, pitying from me. Man shall not thus avoid the doom that fate upon her distaff spins. Son of Ares, thou hast ears to hear. Thus spake the queen, and thus he made reply. Mother of monarchs, Perseus' child, take heart, and look but upon the fairer side of things. For by the precious light that long ago left tenantless these eyes, I swear that oft, Achaea's maidens, as when eve is high, they mold the silken yawn upon their lap, shall tell Alcmena's story. Blessed art thou of women. Such a man as this thy son shall one day scale the star-encumbered heaven. His amplitude of chest bespeaks him lord of all the forest beasts and all mankind. 12 tasks accomplished, he must dwell with Zeus, his flesh give it over to Trachean fires, and son-in-law be hailed of those same gods who sent young skulking brutes to slay thy babe. Lo, the day cometh when the fawn shall couch in the wolf's lair, nor fear the spiky teeth that would not harm him. But, O lady, keep yon smouldering fires alive, prepare you piles of fuel, bramble sprays, or fern, or furze, or pear boughs dried with swinging in the wind, and let the kindled wildwood burn those snakes at midnight when they looked to slay thy babe. And let at dawn some handmaid gather up the ashes of the fire, and diligently convey and cast each remnant o'er the stream, faced by cloven rocks, our boundary, then return, nor look behind, and purify your home, first with sheer sulphur, rain upon it then, champlets of olive wound about your heads, innocuous water, and the customed salt. Lastly, to Zeus Almighty slay a boar, so shall you vanquish all your enemies. Spake Tiresias, and wheeling, though his years weighed upon him sorely, gained his ivory car. And Heracles, as some young orchard tree, grew up Amphitryon, his reputed sire,